for today's classic homes has been made possible by the following corporations.
This program is made possible by Pella, makers of classic windows and patio doors, bringing you style and innovation since 1925.
And by your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. With paint, stain, wallpaper, and decorating ideas, Sherwin-Williams can help you create all the looks you've imagined.
And by DuPont Corian, used in commercial and residential applications worldwide, including new applications like furniture, lighting, and architectural details. Corian, looking beyond the surface for ways to express your design and performance needs.
Made possible by Hartco Quality Wood Flooring Company, makers of Pattern Plus 5000 and other sliced cut hardwood flooring products.
Hi, I'm Mitchell McDaniel, and welcome to today's Classic Homes. On today's program, we're going to take a look at the work involved in renovating our conservatory here at Harlow House. Part of the original design of the house, the conservatory, though very well built, has suffered decades of neglect. Our first job will be to decide what is most cost-effective, to rehabilitate the existing structure or possibly replace it. We'll show you the complete process. Also on today's program, we'll travel to Elkhart, Indiana, and give you a first-hand tour of Ruthmere, a breathtaking Beaux-Arts-style mansion built by one of the founders of Miles Laboratories. So stay with us. We'll get started on this project after this. Conservatories, like this one here at Harlow House, were designed when wealthy homeowners could afford a full-time maintenance staff for the grounds. And full-time maintenance is exactly what conservatories like this require. And maintenance is something that this conservatory hadn't seen in years. As a matter of fact, when we first came on this project, we never gave any consideration to doing anything in this area. When we came here, there were plants growing out through all the holes in the roof and through the glass and through the windows. As a matter of fact, we didn't even know this area existed. We had to push our way through because the plants had grown up everywhere. When we started clearing it out, we uncovered this wonderful stone floor. And the further we moved this way, we then uncovered a bridge, which led us to another discovery that it actually had these ponds in here, which were full of dirt and plants. We excavated those and then uncovered this grotto that had been built into this wall. And you can see here, it had some waterfalls actually that ran into this pool here. And there was another one over on this wall, which cascaded down into this reflecting pool as well. So we were very excited about this find, and we really wanted to do something to bring this conservatory back to life. So we started looking at the structural elements of this. And the closer we looked, the more problems we found. Even though the conservatory was well designed and constructed, decades of neglect coupled with the harsh oceanfront environment have taken a toll. Water penetration has caused the iron framework to rust and the wooden elements to warp and fail. Rust has also claimed mechanical systems. Conservatories built during this era were simple structures using single panes of glass set in wood frames. These were secured with putty that was very prone to drying and cracking. Without continuous maintenance, water penetration was inevitable and ultimately disastrous to the 60-year-old structure. Well, as you can see, there were more problems here than we wanted to deal with. So we found a company that specialized in building and constructing conservatories. They came down here, took measurements of our existing one, went back, and then submitted the drawing for us for our approval. And we really liked what we saw. As a matter of fact, it matched more closely the classical design of this home. The next step was for them to start the fabrication of that. They're actually fabricating the system and going to be shipping it down here to erect it. They left the job of demolition up to us. We started the job by removing the skin of the structure, the glass and the wooden framework. This exposed the steel framing components. Since the bolts and fasteners were rusted through, we cut the steel system out in sections using gas-powered saws with metal cutting blades. In a matter of 4 hours, the old conservatory at Harlow House was just a memory. Although the history of conservatories and home building is centuries old, their function has always been the same: to provide the homeowners with a sunny space for plants and people that can be enjoyed year-round. This example at the Elms in Newport, Rhode Island, is actually a corner room of the home. The classic conservatory style, however, would be an attachment to the main house, allowing light from 3 sides. Ornamental roof cresting and other classical details are common, such as the intricate stained glass panels in this conservatory in Washington, D.C. Today, thanks to more maintenance-friendly building materials, conservatories are making a comeback. This example provides a sunny retreat for the owners of a home in a crowded Chicago neighborhood. In townhouses such as these, with virtually no space for an addition on ground level, conservatories can be constructed on the 2nd story over a protruding downstairs room. At Ruthmere, a beautiful Beaux-Arts-style mansion in Indiana, the conservatory was constructed as an outbuilding connected to the main house by a loggia. The conservatory at Ruthmere, built in 1910, was recently renovated and continues to house a wide variety of plants and flowers for visitors to enjoy. An underground tunnel to the main house was also built to provide easy access during the winter months. The conservatory, however, is only the beginning of what this extraordinary home has to offer. We took a tour with Kathleen Gray.
Ruthmere is an outstanding example of Beaux-Arts architecture located in Elkhart, Indiana. It was commissioned by Albert and Elizabeth Beardsley. Albert was an early partner with the Dr. Miles Medical Company that later became Miles Laboratories and now is known as Bayer. Some of the products today are famous household words, one-a-day vitamins and Alka-Seltzer. And some of those things were started when Beardsley men were in charge there. Albert was an early treasurer. And his wife was prominent socially in Elkhart. They had a child named Ruth who died in infancy in 1880, and the house was named after their baby Ruth. Mere was added to that, and that refers to being near the water here. The house is constructed of Belden brick from Ohio, Indiana limestone, and much of the house is decorated with carved limestone, and it's said that when it came to carving the cartouches and the letters in the limestone, that they felt they needed the skills of Italian craftsmen to do this. If you were a guest arriving at the Beardsley home in 1910 or 1915, you would enter through the vestibule, which at first glance gives you a taste of the elaborate detail that's throughout the whole house. There's mahogany paneling in that little area. There's a wonderful ceiling in that room with a little bit of coffering detail. The mosaic floor is quite lovely and decorative. You would proceed from the vestibule into the entry hall. You begin to see the taste of French furniture and the Frank Lloyd Wright windows, 3 windows after the Frank Lloyd Wright style, and they're very decorative, and they present a contrast to the formality of the Beaux-Arts design. In the foyer, you also see the attention to detail with the open carved stairway in a motif that matches the stenciled fabric around the top of the hallway. So it all ties in together very beautifully. And then we have the player, piano, and organ in the hallway, which is where the family and friends would have gathered for singing or listening to a brief recital by a guest. You would proceed from the foyer into the drawing room. One of the features of this room is the elaborate painting on the ceiling of Aurora, goddess of the dawn. Another feature of this room is the elaborate plasterwork in the ceilings with gold gilt, and then you have the silk wall panels in a wonderful gold color, the elaborate satin, silk, and velvet hangings at the windows. Next, the guests would proceed to the library, which is the equivalent of your modern-day living room. And in the library, you see the wonderful Cuban mahogany paneling built-in bookcases. Library was considered a thing that every cultured family would have at the time. The fireplace is of Cherokee marble. You'll notice the pomegranate motif above the fireplace, which is a symbol of plenty that you find throughout the house. The dining room is also very elaborate, and another wonderfully decorated ceiling in this room. This is called a Della Robbia style ceiling, and it's a fruit and floral motif popularized by the Della Robbia school during the Renaissance. We have in this room also another wonderful fireplace with marble and wood surrounds, and then a very unique wall treatment in this room, which is murals of the Italian Lake District on velvet fabric. This was known to be a destination of the family in their travels. The game room is a place where the guests would be invited after dinner. It has wonderful original lights in the ceiling. They are very typical of Beaux-Arts architecture with the exposed light bulb and a decorative surround. There is walnut paneling down here and built-in bookcases, and we know that the family used the room for lectures and social events. Mr. and Mrs. Beardsley would have retired to the second floor to the bedroom areas after their guests left. The hallway is lovely because it's lighted by a very unusual skylight. The light from the third floor skylight filters down through this window and lights this interior space that otherwise would be very dark. Then we would proceed to Albert's bedroom, which is decorated in gold pattern silk fabrics and furnished very much as he would have had it in 1910. There's a chenille rug on the floor which matches the motif. There's a very unusual ceiling decoration in this room, and there's also some decorative molding here. Elizabeth's bedroom is very, very feminine, and she has decorative hangings from the bed. She has an elaborate decoration on the ceiling, and we see that the family spared no expense in decorating these rooms, even though they wouldn't be seen by many people. Again, silk fabrics in the wall panels, a very decorative fireplace mantle, and a color theme that ties in with the rest of the house. Ruthmere is an outstanding example of Beaux-Arts architecture, something that can be appreciated not only by the family when they lived in it, but by future generations as they come to visit it now as a restored mansion.
Back at Harlow House, construction on our new conservatory is underway. We talked with designer Dave Bishop.
Well, Dave, you've probably been asked this question many times, but for my own sake, what's the difference between a conservatory and a greenhouse?
Well, my favorite phrase in explaining the difference is that greenhouses are for plants and conservatories are for people.
So really what we had here before was a greenhouse.
Very much so. With the high humidity conditions, single glazing, a very simple structure, it was most definitely a greenhouse.
But now we're going to create a conservatory.
Well, I think in looking at the home and having my first experience with it, it's such a beautiful home that I felt something that was more than a greenhouse was very appropriate. And that's where we came up with a conservatory design.
Well, I think you have a very unique position being able to design and build conservatories. I mean, to me, it's just like a lost art.
Well, I feel very privileged in being in this business of not only working with fine design, but satisfying people's dreams. And from a personal perspective, it satisfied my dreams when I created a conservatory for my own home. And it was based on an English company that was exporting at that time and doing just what I wanted. So now we're evolving and working with thousands of people who are expressing the same interests of having traditional styling to their glass structures, of doing conservatories all over the country.
Well, see, styling is very important to us because we were very concerned about this home, the Beaux-Arts style, and bringing in a new element like a conservatory, hoping to add value to it and style to it rather than detract from it.
When I came through this home and saw some of the fine detail, the arches that are in the portico, I wanted to bring some of those elements in very simply, but not to detract, but to complement the house. So we'll have arches in the windows and ridge cresting on the roof and just enough elements of special design to make this place special.
Of course, this job wasn't the easiest. I mean, we already had these existing conditions that you had to work with.
This was one of the most challenging jobs I've ever encountered, with the unusual stonework, the irregular wall shapes. Finding a system that would adapt to this was quite difficult. Most of the time we work with wood, but wood is not appropriate for this kind of climate or usage. So in finding an aluminum system that provided me with the aesthetic adaptability as well as the functional needs that we have for this room, turned out to be a delightful project to work on.
You know, I'm constantly amazed at what we can do with new technology today. When you send us these drawings here to give us an idea what this project was going to look like completed, we have operable windows, we have this nice beautiful pyramidal roof that's going to go in the top of it, the cresting. I mean, we've got all these nice little details that can be made now basically maintenance free to some degree.
Very much so. And the finish here is an industrial finish of high durability. The owners can come in, they can spray wash it if so desired.
That's great.
There's a double insulated glass system applied so that they could heat and air condition and use it year-round, 72 degrees constant if they'd like.
That's our conservatory then, isn't it?
Yes, it's a conservatory for living, for people's enjoyment.
Well, that's great. You know, another thing that I was very surprised about when you pulled up here in the trailer, we had all these parts just piled on the top of it, and now within a day it seems like it's coming together very fast.
It's coming together well, and we only expect 3 to 4 more days, and we're ready then for your crew to do the finishing.
Since all the elements were prefabricated prior to installation at the job site, the construction process went quite well. The basic framework of the system was designed to snap together. Later, holes are drilled for the permanent stainless steel fasteners. After the walls and rafters were secured, the next step was to install the rubber seals on which the insulated glass panels would set. Unlike our old greenhouse, our new conservatory is made out of lightweight aluminum, making it much easier to transport and handle. The best part, though, is that every piece of the system is pre-finished and can be ordered in a variety of colors. We selected a custom color designed to match the finish on our new windows. The next step in construction was to install the 1-inch insulated glass panels. In less than 3 days, Greg and Darren had completed the primary installation and began the job of trimming the units to ensure a watertight seal. As the project neared completion, we talked with Greg Heder about some of the features of our new conservatory.
Well, Greg, you and your crew have done a wonderful job. It looks like you're just about ready to wrap it up.
Yes, a few more final touches and this conservatory will be completed for the second time.
Yeah, well, I understand. Yeah, you built it the first time in the shop.
Yes, it was constructed over 800 miles away from here. We brought it down, and in less than 5 days, it'll be finished.
It's pretty impressive. You know, what impresses me the most is that I don't have any exposed fasteners. It's very clean looking.
Absolutely. What we do is we have a pressure cap that goes over each of these stainless steel screws you see here. All parts are either stainless steel or aluminum, which prevents corrosion.
That's right. Here in Florida, anything is going to rust except
Absolutely.
stainless steel or aluminum. And I guess these are weep holes that's engineered into the system?
Yes, this entire system was designed so that any condensation that gets into the system flows down through weeping tracks and all the way out the system, down to the bottom, out these holes and out of the sill.
Yeah, even a nice sill detail, too, and it's very thick aluminum.
Absolutely. We try to keep a nice, clean system.
And we got a nice door going in here?
That will be next, and let me show you some other features inside. Mitch, let me begin by showing you, we have operable vents which run the entire transom area. We have Gothic arches which will be placed between in the other non-operable windows.
So we got 2 operables on each side?
Exactly, and then those are fixed panels, fixed glass panels. In here, these are just single arm operators, open very nicely. The Gothic arches which you see here accentuate the loggia, the arches on the loggia.
Very nice detail.
Yes, we have a screen in these vents.
Oh, that's good here in Florida.
Lots of bugs. And if you look up above that, you're going to see our panels.
Now those are insulated?
Yes, they're insulated panels, 1-inch insulated panels. From there, you can see the beautiful detail leading into the roof. And right in the center of all this at the hub, you're going to see 4 operable skylights.
Now those have screens on them as well,
yes.
right?
Yes. That's to keep the bugs out, and they operate with an arm extender pole. Very easy, open, close.
Now, I like the little cresting detail up there. It's very nice.
Yes, that whole system up there is what truly sells a conservatory.
Where you did some really nice work here. The details are exceptional. One thing that I like about it, it's situated sort of on top of this dune, so it's the first thing you see when you come up the driveway, and it's the last thing you see when you leave. So it's very important to make a first impression and a lasting impression, and you folks have certainly pulled it off. Great job.
We were glad to do it, Mitch, and we really, really enjoyed this week.
Another project here at Harlow House was the restoration of a wonderful fountain in the loggia. Although we found it in a dilapidated state, the structure was still sound and the original plumbing and lighting was still intact. To help us with the restoration, we called in lighting consultant Guy Romano.
Oh, Guy, you got it running again. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely, Mitch. What we did here was we put a recirculating pump and used the existing tubing that was there.
Oh, that's good, because before it just went into the hole and under the house.
That's right, and out into the drain.
You got a new waterproof basin?
That's right. You guys came along and waterproofed this and also painted it this pretty
How
blue
about
color.
these lights? These look like the original ones.
They are. These are the original covers and everything. All we did was put a waterproof light into it.
I tell you, this will look great at night. You know, there's nothing more soothing than the sound of running water.
Talking about water, Mitch, you need to come and take a look at the greenhouse because we got the water going again.
Oh, great. Well, Guy, from a greenhouse to a conservatory, this is quite a transformation. What we thought was just a pile of rocks has turned out that you discovered that there was a masterful plan to all this.
Oh, absolutely. It originally was intended and designed for a water garden.
Uh-huh.
And what we've done was we're trying to recreate the same effect that they had back in the early 30s.
And they ran all their lines in old galvanized piping.
That's correct. Unfortunately, we can't use it
It's
today.
all rusted.
It's all rusted out. So we're using this PVC tubing.
Okay.
And that we kind of put it all in the same areas that he originally intended it to be.
Trying to recreate it again, so to speak.
That's correct. And so we kind of did it. We're hoping we did it. So as you can see behind us right here, you can look at the rocks and you can see where the water eroded. And that's where he had one of the flows. Another flow was here, one was right
Very
behind
nice
me.
one
That's
back there.
correct.
Now, how were you able to get your lines back in behind the rock?
What we did was we drilled different areas and put these tubing through it, but what really makes it work is the pump system that we have in here.
Yeah, then they used, like we mentioned, the galvanized line, but the water just came out, leached into these pools, or actually leached out of the pools, we discovered.
That's true. Yes, because we found a drain that goes cleverly outside and serves the dual purposes, but when they had it turned on, it just kept coming in and flowing out. Behind this wall, we put a manifold that's operating this from all the water that's coming in.
Now, these pumps that are in there and these lines, when this is complete, they won't be visible.
Absolutely not. Everything will be hidden away and nice and tucked away, and they will have that original look is what we're trying to achieve.
We did a great job with this Florida limestone. Looks just like a grotto should look.
Yes, that's true.
Now, you've been able to incorporate some new lighting into this,
That's
right?
correct. What we did was we put two waterproof lighting fixtures in these pools so that we can light up the rocks behind me with a nice flush light.
Oh, that'll look
so it'll look really pretty. Again, you got to pick this at night because you really can't see it in the daytime. So to give us more coverage outside of the pool area, we chose these copper fixtures, which is a directional light, so we can kind of put
Good waterproof fixture.
Absolutely, and it turns verdi-green, it blends in.
Oh, that's nice.
Plus, at night, again, when people walk in, we want to make sure they had enough light, a pathway light.
Okay, yeah, we don't want any overhead light.
No, that's correct. It'll ruin the effect. So we use these. And what's nice is they're cleverly placed, and they'll all turn verdi-green.
Well, that's great. So we got a little bit more work in here to do. Maybe some more lines to run, some more rocks to hide the lines.
That's
and
correct.
Maybe some plantings, too.
Oh, absolutely. That's the next step is also, beside hiding everything, we're going to put some nice ferns and flowers in here. But you got to come back at night, Mitch, because to get the real true effect.
I guarantee you we'll be back.
Thanks.
Wow, Guy was right. You had to see this room at night. This is fabulous. Look how vivid and striking this flowers are in this black bucket here. It's great, isn't it? So many colors. We got ferns, we got bromelias. I don't even know the names of all these plants. Look at those birds over there in the background. Aren't they great? We got these nice waterfalls and these pools here. Give it a nice shimmering effect. And to think that the old greenhouse that was here was the eyesore here at Harlow House. I mean, we never even thought about doing anything to it other than probably just get rid of it. And now look at it, being transformed into a tropical paradise. And I'm sure that the homeowners will enjoy this for many years, as well as any visitor to Harlow House.
On our next program, we'll show you how we transformed this drab old kitchen here at Harlow House into a space that will be more efficient and inviting. Also, come with us on a tour of the Vanderbilt Summer Cottage in Newport, Rhode Island. Marble House is a breathtaking example of the craftsmanship and opulence that marked the Gilded Age.
And until next time, I'm Mitchell McDaniel for today's Classic Homes.
Center stage in the history of American architecture, Chicago is a city full of Beaux-Arts-style landmarks. Take a first-hand tour later this season on Today's Classic Homes.
Funding for Today's Classic Homes has been made possible by the following corporations.
This program is made possible by Pella, makers of classic windows and patio doors, bringing you style and innovation since 1925.
And by your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. With paint, stain, wallpaper, and decorating ideas, Sherwin-Williams can help you create all the looks you've imagined.
And by DuPont Corian, used in commercial and residential applications worldwide, including new applications like furniture, lighting, and architectural details. Corian, looking beyond the surface for ways to express your design and performance needs.
Made possible by Hartco Quality Wood Flooring Company, makers of Pattern Plus 5000 and other sliced cut hardwood flooring products.
To order a copy of this program, please call 1-800-256-4408 or send $19.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. Please specify episode number 205 when ordering.
This is PBS.